This following clip should go without saying, right?
Again, talking about the strength. Obviously, if somebody's taking gear, you can put at least 3 plates on there, maybe 4 or more, right? Doing a plate and a quarter is because, again, that's natty.
I came across this video on Reddit recently, that amazing app that I'm sure everyone loves. And my first reaction to it was, every so often we'll see guys on social media with like Synthol physique, right? Where they look freaking crazy, bulbous, and ultimately disgusting to many people. And it really does stand out how freaking weird it looks. But then I thought, what's really going on here? Who is this guy? Let's just look into him a bit more. And then it sent me down a rabbit hole of who this man really was, and unfortunately, the tragic situation that he found himself in. But one thing's for sure, this guy's using bloody Synthol. A lot of frigging oil on his physique. And in this video, I actually want to go over what Synthol is, the issues that come with using Synthol, as well as what actually happened to this bodybuilder. And it's quite sad, to be honest. I'm not over-exaggerating. But first, thank you. Thank you for all the support that you give to the channel. It genuinely means so flipping much. And if you would consider subscribing as a new viewer, that means a lot. Now, we've actually covered some oil-filled bodybuilders on the channel previously, and if you've been watching for a bit, you'd probably recognize this face here. Eros, the Italian freaking, again, bodybuilder. Like, I don't really know what you'd call it. And it's funny because his physique looks crazy. Everyone says that he's using oil. And he actually went on a freaking podcast. He said that he used steroids. It didn't satisfy him. And so where would he go from there? Oil, right? But then he said that he doesn't use oil. Like, what?
Qui si vede che quando si appoggia il dito nel bicipite questo rientra. Dai, prova tu, guarda sul mio braccio se rientra.
Sì, hai il muscolo sodo.
È perché io mi alleno, non uso olio.
How can you have a physique like this? Say that you take steroids, but say that you don't take oil. Yeah, mate, we're all seeing through this one.
Rossi, ma che ci fai qui alla stazione?
Sto controllando se ci sono i Maranza.
Maranza?
I Maranza.
Perché cosa è successo?
Io mi alleno, non uso olio.
This man that we're looking at today, though, was open about his Synthol use and was actually open about the fact that he enjoyed doing it. Yeah, seriously, we'll get onto that in a moment. This guy actually featured on a freaking Big Orexia Generation Iron documentary previously, going over what big orexia is. The idea of just constantly getting bigger, never being satisfied with how you freaking look. But who actually is this bloody guy? His name is Valdir Segato, a Brazilian bodybuilder again. I don't really know what you'd freaking call them. And he actually got the nickname Valdir Synthol Segato, which is crazy. He was originally inspired by guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Lou Ferrigno, as pretty much every bloody person is who gets into the gym and bodybuilding. They want to look like Arnold at some point in their lifting career. I even have a freaking like Arnold picture on my wall there. I'll show you a picture on my screen now. And so I kind of get what he's coming from. Where I don't get where he's coming from, though, is his mindset. He ended up training and gaining muscle, but he wasn't satisfied with that. And so he turned to oil. And that's actually what many bodybuilders do in regard to using or justifying themselves using Synthol. They get to a point where they're just not satisfied. Naturally, I can't get the physique that I want. Even with steroids, I can't get the physique that I want. I just want to be as big as possible. Seriously, that is the mentality, as big as possible. And so they end up turning to Synthol use. Now, I know that there's going to be people typing already, oh, this is a mental illness, this is crazy. But I think there is this mindset that people have when they go to the gym that they're never satisfied with their physique. They want to constantly get bigger and bigger, and they're driven by the fact that, again, they're never satisfied with how they look. Many legendary bodybuilders, including Arnold himself, was never satisfied with how he looked. But of course, there is some restraint there. You're smart about it. How can I improve my look? Well, I can train harder, eat better, get better recovery, and just optimize how I'm training so that I can get a better look. But no, unfortunately, some people will just jump to the extremes. Whether it be, for instance, young guys at the moment just jumping on PEDs because they want to get the gains quick, or jumping on Synthol, unfortunately. This is what people do to get the look that they desire. And it kind of makes no sense to me, to be honest. Like, think about it. If your freaking aspiration is Arnold's physique, this, bro, great freaking symmetry and flow to his physique, although he had a wider waist, why would you then turn to Synthol, which is going to give you a bulbous and disfigured look? A bubbly freaking weird look where like your physique is like all over the place and it looks like you've just been drawn by a kid, or ChatGPT made you in some, like, with a terrible prompt. I was, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't even look good. Yes, you're big, but you don't look good. You're not big and good looking. You're just big. But I think it maybe gets to a point where you just enjoy doing it, perhaps. There's a quote here. After being told to stop using Synthol by his doctor, Segato insisted that he would still potentially use the site injections oil in the future. Despite having doubled his biceps, he still wanted to be bigger. He said, "The doctors tell me to stop it. The advice they give is to stop using it. But it's my decision to use it because I want to, because I like to." This is what we're dealing with here. Now, I'm sure you've seen this before, but you'd probably questioned, what is Synthol? It's site enhancement oil. It's usually a mix of oil, lidocaine, which is a local anesthetic and painkiller, as well as alcohol. What guys will do will mix that up, inject it into the site in which they want to bring up, and then in turn, make their physique look better. And to reference the Reddit video which started off this video, no, it doesn't make you freaking stronger, mate. It's to bring up the area to make it look bigger. It's injected oil. It's not anabolic steroids, which are going to promote, muscle protein synthesis and production of muscle fibers to just build bigger muscle. No, it's not going to promote anabolism. It's just to bring up certain areas and make them look better. It's kind of like that question in real life. Would you rather look stronger and be weak, or be weak and look stronger? If you know what I mean. That's kind of the be weak but look stronger, except you don't really look that strong, you just look weird. Especially in extreme cases like this, because believe it or not, there are many bodybuilders who use Synthol. Literally, they will use Synthol to bring up certain body parts and you won't really know. If you look at someone like Boston Lloyd, for instance, may he rest in peace, he was known for his crazy transformation back in the day through taking copious amounts of steroids and having the genetics to be able to react to them. But also, mate, this guy was taking Synthol at the same time, bro. There's actually a video of him saying, I got 3 cc's in this head of my tricep, 3 cc's in this head of my tricep, 3 cc's here, and I think he went around the heads of his shoulder as well.
I put 3 cc's of Synthol here and 3 cc's of Synthol here, as well as 3 cc's of Synthol and 3 cc's of Synthol here.
Damn! So that's already 6 cc's of Synthol that he's deploying just into his tricep. So that's right here and here. He's pinning 6 cc's. That's 2 of these completely filled that he's pumping daily into just his tricep area. That's on both sides. So that was 12 cc's that he was pumping daily. That's 4 of these full needles daily that he's pumping into his arms.
As well as 3 cc's of Synthol.
Now
and 3 cc's
continue
of Synthol
on, because that's not
here.
it. That's not even
and
the
also,
cycle.
Since I activated my delts that day, I would go 3 cc's in the mid delt, 3 cc's in the on each delt. So Synthol wise, that's it for that.
So the guy was taking 18 cc's of Synthol, bro.
And as you can see from his physique, if he was just to sit there and say, yeah, I use Synthol, you'd probably have this image of someone like Valdir Segato. But no, he just looks like a bodybuilder with great arm genetics because the Synthol has brought up his arms. And it's weird because Boston had the idea of more is better when it came to steroids. This guy would just take honestly so much frigging gear to the point where he was having like terrible side effects, even with scar tissue on his tricep because how he was pinning himself. Literally look at this interview with him and frigging RX Muscle with Dave Palumbo. Bro, you can see on his frigging arm, that looks terrible, mate. And also he had like frigging severe pain as well, so he couldn't leave the house without taking a certain amount of ibuprofen and painkillers to just ease that pain. That more is better mentality isn't the way to go. And it seems like Valdir Synthol Segato didn't have that idea with performance enhancers, but he definitely had that freaking idea when it came to oil, mate, site enhancement oil. Because, mate, this guy was pumping himself freaking full of that stuff. Mate, and it worked. Seriously, this guy got a bigger physique, although even still, he wasn't satisfied with how he looked, I'd assume. He was posting it on platforms like TikTok, and he got 1.7 million followers, mate, on TikTok, which is unbelievable. Like, just looking through his freaking TikTok, mate, it was just videos of him doing the most mundane tasks of walking around, just in Brazil, like hanging about in the wilderness almost sometimes. But they would bang, mate. 8 million views almost on some of these videos just because his physique looked incredibly freaking, like, just way out there. But despite the fact that he was getting loads of views, and there were loads of memes that were made about him on different platforms like Reddit, like we saw previously, not everything seemed to be okay. This guy was having some serious health issues. Like, serious. Literally listen to this. His neighbor, a 31-year-old man called Moises, told local news it was around 6 a.m. more or less. He came crawling through the back door of my house and came to the front. Then he knocked on my mother's window. Knock, 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 knock. Then she woke up and he said, help me, because I'm dying. Moises' family helped Valdir before when he fell ill with similar symptoms, the last time being some 4 months prior. He was suffering from shortness of breath and wheezing, and he found it difficult to talk. Moises said he had already felt sick again. I had already helped him. He just didn't die because I ran very fast. I took the car and I went very fast until I got to the hospital. Then he thanked me and said that if it wasn't for me, he would have died that day. This time my mother said that he said he was going to die and that he would not escape. And so as you can gather, Synthol is something that you can't just mess around with. You don't just inject it and then, oh, everything's great, my muscles look bigger or whatever. No, there are some serious side effects that come with this stuff. Even if we're talking about the injection site, let alone the other parts of the body. The injection site in itself can cause some terrible side effects in regard to cystic fibrosis, cell death, restricted blood flow, nerve damage, all in just that one area, which can cause crazy side effects of having to get, for instance, loads of muscle tissue in your arm in itself removed because the cells themselves are dead. They've had so much restricted blood flow to them, they're just not even functioning anymore. They don't work. But not even just the injection side. You can get side effects in other areas as well. If you were to literally look at the side effects that he was having, it said that he was having shortness of breath. I'd assume that he was having chest pain at the same time. I don't want to make an assumption, but even if he wasn't having chest pain, mate, this can literally this could have been something due to like a heart attack, for instance. Even though it could be a heart attack, for instance, which many people have said it could have actually been pulmonary occlusion. Now, sort of to simplify that for you, the pulmonary arteries are situated within the lungs. Of course, your lungs are responsible for blood oxidation, which keeps your freaking body alive. If you have pulmonary occlusion, which is the blockage that will limit blood oxidation and means that your body is less oxygenated, it can lead to you having a shortness of breath or chest pain, wheezing. Does that sound familiar? Now, I'm not trying to say that his cause of death was pulmonary occlusion or a heart attack or anything. I'm just saying that, mate, that does sound very similar. Now, in the instances that I showed you previously, he was saved by his friends. Multiple times, may I add, but there was one time when he was 55 years old where he wasn't saved, and unfortunately he passed away, which is quite sad because when you get an obsession with just getting bigger and bigger and you end up injecting yourself with liters of frigging oil to look like you did, mate, that's just going to increase the risk of these side effects and it's going to make things even worse. And unfortunately, the way to resolve these issues is through surgical removal. Your body just doesn't like pee it out or sweat it out or anything. You need to get it surgically removed. Like I said previously, there were people who ended up getting muscle tissue literally dying due to lack of blood flow, and then they've had to get most of it removed. Or there's even examples here, for instance, if we were to look at this case presentation, a 29-year-old Middle Eastern male, again, bodybuilder, following intramuscular injections of Synthol 5 years ago, presented with painful pressure in the right upper arm. On presentation to our clinic, the muscle appeared disfigured. Magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, revealed scattered cystic fatty lesions in the muscle. The affected part was surgically removed, and histopathology showed inflammatory changes with fibrosis and so-called Swiss cheese patterning. Synthol injections that are used for short-term enhancement of muscle appearance by bodybuilders bear the danger of long-term painful muscular fibrosis and disfigurement. And as we can see from these images here, bro, they just look frigging weird. There's even that Russian guy, for instance, who I don't even think he freaking trains, but he just injects his muscles with freaking Synthol so much where he just goes viral every so often and then he ends up having to get it removed and then he just injects again. It's like a vicious cycle for this guy trying to go viral because he's obsessed with having these big arms.
Funny enough, this is exactly what happened to Bazooka Hands. According to his doctors, during an emergency visit, he had injected already over 3 liters of oil regularly. This is not just a one-time thing, regularly into each arm, which is becoming solidified, calcifying, and actively shutting off blood supply to the muscles and tissues in that arm. His body, his muscles, his actual fat, his everything underneath his skin was rotting because of the oil. He had to get 2/3 of his own triceps removed so that he wouldn't have to amputate his entire arm.
Now, of course, like I said earlier, situations like this are freaking extreme. You very rarely see someone inject their body this much to give them this freaking bulbous, disgusting look. Yes, freaking Synthol is used in bodybuilding, but not to this extent. It's usually just to bring up certain areas and make their physique look more complete on stage so that they can have an advantage on their competitors. I understand the mindset in which they have when they want to do this, i.e. they just want to get bigger, as pretty much everyone freaking does who goes to the gym. Me and you freaking both know that we want to get bigger, we want to get better physiques. but it's just the justification behind it which makes no sense to me. I understand people wanting to do steroids, for instance, because of course that's going to give them, no one do steroids by the way, but it will give them quicker gains and it will give them more gains over time. But that comes with side effects. This, however, will also come with side effects and will have a worse effect because it's not even promoting strength. It doesn't even make their freaking physique look better, yet they'll still do it nonetheless for, honestly, I don't really know freaking why. Maybe they get convinced to do it, or maybe they think it's an amazing idea because they just want to get as big as possible. It genuinely makes no freaking sense at all. Again, steroids one thing, oil is another thing. But anyway, I'd like to hear your opinion on this stuff in the comments down below. So often we see guys who pass away because of bodybuilding in regard to diuretic use or anabolic use, or, you know, genetic predispositions that are there already, which then of course worsen because of their steroid use or their terrible lifestyle. People taking PEDs as well as recreational drugs and stuff as well. That stuff is bad. John Skywalker is, you get my point. But stuff like this, it's just to the extreme, bro. I don't really know. But again, I'd like to hear your opinion on it nonetheless. I'm sure you're very opinionated on it. There's going to be some interesting comments in this video. But again, I want to hear what you think. And if you consider subscribing as a new viewer, I'd really freaking appreciate that.